Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode here of the Echelon Cycling Podcast. It is number 28. Yes, I'm counting because I'm excited for 100. And this is the Super Worlds edition, I guess, in Glasgow. And last week I was in South Korea, jet lag, terrible. But this week it's the turn of Patrick. You're in where?
I'm in Aberfoyle, which is just north of Glasgow. Hence why I'm recording this on my phone because my laptop refused to connect to the Wi-Fi network in this house. So we've got me on mobile today. But yeah, it's been a good fun day. I just watched the men's elite race up on Crow Road. I didn't go into the city centre, but it was a cracking event. So we'll have a good chat about that today because it was a real one for the ages, I think.
I mean, you're no pressure on you. Time to change location at some point.
Well, I'm currently in my childhood bedroom in my parents' house because I'm in between apartments. Oh, well, to be fair, this does beat being in the bathroom of my old apartment, which did happen before the Tour de France.
Great
That's
episode.
true. Always good.
But in terms of the world, I mean, it hasn't just been the road race. Obviously, Mathieu van der Poel winning that, but we also, between the three of us, we just saw that Filippo Ganna, the ever heartbreaker, just breaking the heart of Dan Bigham, who almost took the the world title. I obviously I'm very happy as well because Denmark won the men's junior and got their revenge on Filippo Ganna and his companions in the team pursuit. But yeah, what have you thought of this World Championship so far?
I can kind of understand their setup now in a way because we were talking about the Super World Championships and what is kind of a point of it, but they're sort of trying to make it almost like an Olympic style thing where there's medal tables and because there's so many events, it's sort of backing your nation and there's so much going on. Like there's medals for everything, like for age categories and grand fondos and stuff, which freaking just random people. What's the guy who owns Israel called?
Sylvan Adams. Also, Vinokurov won
Yeah,
the categories as well.
yeah. So there's so many medals, so it's sort of like an Olympic style thing. So I can kind of get why they're doing it, but it is very chaotic. I will admit it's very hard to keep track as to everything that's going on. It's not just me. Or am I the only one who's struggling to keep hold of what's going on?
It seems like there's
Yeah,
a lot of things going on.
yeah, it's kind of overload with like all the track stuff, then like the road racing. It's almost too much to take in one go. Maybe it's just because like my body is like used to September being the World Championship time of year, but like I wasn't that hyped, and like it doesn't feel like the World Championship. So I feel like we're still in this like strange in between part of the season, like the post Tour de France hangover period. But it
Hmm.
looks like it's going down swimmingly from what I've seen from people on the ground in Scotland as well. It's been a success so far.
Swimmingly because it's raining so much.
Ooh.
It was all right today, apart from protesting. But that's a whole other thing going on. I was miffed because I was just like, where are they? They should be arriving where I am. And then I was like, oh, it's neutralized. And I was stood there for an extra like 30 minutes, just like, oh, where are the riders? When are they going to set off? So from a personal standpoint, I was like, oh, this is killing my day.
Yeah, we were thinking of you on stream as well. We were like, obviously, Ewan was being very diplomatic, saying yes, they have the right to protest. The planet is dying, etc., etc. But obviously, I would rather that they interrupt the snooker and the cricket because I don't care about that. But yeah, I'm sorry. But yeah, obviously, it was sad for the riders as well. For the snooker, nobody, it doesn't matter. Like he doesn't need to warm up again. Here, the riders needed to warm up or they would get cold quite quickly. But I mean
See,
that
you say that about snooker, but like you
dude,
got to
they
be in
need
that
to warm
mental
up.
zone.
It'll be in the zone.
Snooker for our American viewers is like a different version of pool with loads of different multicolored balls.
I'm very boring. But anyways, the road race, Mathieu van der Poel winning, absolute legend. Even crashed and his boa failed or something, and still managed to win the race. Yeah, well, you and I did the recap and race analysis over the second day in Extra Channel, but yeah, Patrick, we would love to hear your thoughts as well on it.
I thought it was just so perfect. the way that Van der Poel winning was just brilliant. I think that of all the people, I even said coming in today, if there's anybody who I would love to win tomorrow, it would be Mathieu, because he is the embodiment of all things great in cycling. So him winning for the first time on the road in the Road World Championships. I know he kind of won under 23, but elite level. I was like, wow. I was like, this is just brilliant. And the fact that the podium was rounded out by Wout van Aert, his ever-present kind of like this rival, and then Pogacar, who's also just the pure embodiment of pure cyclismo from this year. I was like, wow, this is really just a fantastic event. So I really loved it. And yeah, the fact that Van der Poel's crash and his bow and he ripped it off, it was such drama to add into the finale as well. But it was brutal. It was a brutal race.
Was it too dangerous?
Yeah, after the race, Tadej Pogacar said like if there was one more lap, he would have ended up in an ambulance. And I think after he made that comment, he like came down with like just being so fatigued. He had to do his interviews in the fall because he was cramping. Then he got taken away because he was feeling like dizzy and sick. I saw a post-race interview with Chris Neylands of Latvia, and he was like, "This is the hardest race I've ever done. Like, why would you do this?" But Kozna far before the race said that the course designers were drunk when they designed the course. There was a lot of criticism about like the course design. It was a really good spectacle for us as viewers, but like I imagine 271 kilometers of that as a rider would have just been so brutal. And like, look at the time gaps we had in top 10. These are like seismic gaps that you wouldn't really see in a world championship otherwise.
But I would argue that that's not the course designer's fault. That's the riders that were going absolutely full gas from like 150 kilometers to go. We saw they were going absolutely hell for leather. So that's nothing to do with the course. It could have been any course and they would have ripped each other to shreds.
That's only like the distance is the kind of strange factor here, because we've had plenty of races, world championships, which have been this length and length in kind of like distance. But I can understand Ewan's point is that, yeah, there was something it was just a number of corners and just a number of short, sharp climbs on the circuit as well. I'm not sure whether there's a compromise if you did more kind of off circuit and then perhaps did 2 circuits less, maybe, as kind of like do a bit more like a loop to begin with from Edinburgh to Glasgow, and then do like 2 less circuits or something like that, or kind of compromise on that way. Because I must admit, there was 60 k's to go, and I did think, how the hell is there like an hour and a half of racing left to go? Because there are 10 riders left. And I even felt bad for him. I was like, dude, this is insanely difficult. There was no point where it was easy. And yeah, I think the corners really maybe made it extremely difficult. Maybe it was a little bit excessive, so I can kind of understand both sides of it. But it did produce a very entertaining race.
That's the thing. It's like race engineering and like the riders, it's always like a difficult balancing act, because like you want to make the best race, and then sometimes the best race has to be the most brutal race. The riders don't want to have the brutality, and rightly so, but how do you sort of have like the perfect harmony between the two? But I mean, they really could have done with maybe 1 less lap, like in that city center section. 271 kilometers is long anyway. And then with all of those corners in the city as well, just taking out 14 kilometers would have probably made it more sort of achievable. But at the end of the day, it made it a banging race. Maybe if we had 1 less lap, it would have been even more exciting.
I don't know if you listened to Wout van Aert's interview, but it was quite nice. He didn't say he regretted anything. He just said, well, I came here to win, but I'm not disappointed. Mathieu just was better on the day. But yeah, the Belgian team, they kind of, I don't know, they had 3 riders in top 10, so it's not like they came away with nothing, and second for Wout, but Remco was nowhere. We'll get on to Remco later. I don't want to talk about him right now, but yeah. So was it a disappointment for the Belgian team, or are they fine with this?
I think they'll be fine with it, considering that I think if they didn't finish on the podium, that would be a disappointment, but they did. So at the end of the day, I reckon you could be relatively happy with that. I think, although we didn't want to talk about Remco, but I reckon he was a little bit disappointing. Couldn't really fathom what sort of happened there when he dropped off the group. I thought, I don't really know what happened there, but he did shoot his shot kind of in the race. He gave it a decent crack. But yeah, I reckon Belgium, they did take such control of the race though, is the thing, but they just got rolled by the better man, is the thing. Even if Van der Poel's first move got brought back, he was categorically better than Pedersen, Pogacar, and Wout today. So even if he got brought back, he probably would have done the same thing up Montreux Street the following time and just dusted him just as easily, probably. So I'm not really sure Belgium could have done much else, to be honest with you, other than maybe Remco gets away on one of his attacks. That's all I could see really being a bit different.
I don't think Belgium can be too disappointed because, like, at the end, it was down to Wout and Mathieu, and Mathieu was the stronger guy in the day. I don't think there's anything that Belgium could have done differently. I don't think Remco had the legs. I don't think there's anything tactically they could have done differently. Maybe place Remco further up the group, but inevitably he wasn't going to make that filtration where the four best riders ended up off the front. So I don't think Belgium can be too beat up about it. I don't think any team really can be too disappointed with their result today.
Ecuador.
Oh, poor Navarez, man.
Yeah.
That was a real shame.
Yeah.
Do you guys think there was any nation which sort of punched above their weight? Like Latvia, I think did a real good job today, actually, to be fair. I think they did a real cracking job. Neylands and Schoen's both in top 15, I want to say. So I think that was a real good performance from them, actually, from a small nation with only 4 riders to get, such a good performance out of their riders. I think was a real good job. And also, like, Stefan Coe finished 5th. Did he? Where did that come from? That was incredible.
Yeah, that's true. But anyways, returning to the man of the moment, Mathieu van der Poel. Yeah, where does this kind of rank him in terms of the best one-day riders, GOAT of cycling, etc., in this kind of one-day racer this year already? We talked about that. Paris-Roubaix, Milan-San Remo, second in Ronde van Vlaanderen, and now the World Championships and winning the Cyclocross World Championships as well.
I think that in this current peloton, Van der Poel is the best one-day racer. In this current peloton, I think historical riders, there are riders who were also very good, but I want to say that I think Van der Poel is the best in the current peloton by far. I think Pogacar, give him time, but I think Van der Poel for now, he's pretty unstoppable.
He's like a big race rider as well. Like, you see him at the Worlds, you see him at these monuments, and he rises to the occasion. And I think that says a lot, because you're going to remember a ride in Paris-Roubaix more than you're going to remember a ride in Gent-Wevelgem, for instance. And Van der Poel just seems to be able to bring it, and he's like managed that pressure a lot better as well over the past couple of years, and sort of building up to certain points in the season. Even sort of like changing his focus from cyclocross to road. It used to be this big sort of like drama where we thought like, oh, he's just not going to be there for a couple of races and eventually he'll like warm into it. Where now I feel like it's a more seamless transition. I think Van der Poel is 100% the best one-day rider. Pogacar could be up there, but at the moment, Van der Poel is just, fantastic. I'm sorry to Wout, but Wout just needs bigger sort of one-day, well, like big time one-day race results, like a Paris-Roubaix victory, like a World Championship title. Feels like Mathieu van der Poel this year just like wanted to sort of fill out his palmares of races that he should win. And he's done that with San Remo, Roubaix, and now here at the World Championships. And I'm really excited to see where he goes next year. Liège-Bastogne-Liège potentially, or other races that he hasn't quite cracked yet. Definitely could be an exciting one.
I mean, what hasn't Mathieu won that he, in theory, would go on? Because I really can't. Like, outside of, I don't know.
I want him to win the monuments, to be honest. I want him, he wants to win Olympic gold in something, I think, as well.
Yeah, but like that Paris route really suits him. Maybe that's his new thing next year, is like winning the Olympic gold in Paris. That could be a really achievable goal.
Yeah, maybe it is a gold medal in Olympics is kind of a big thing. But this is kind of my point, is that he sort of won everything that he is suited towards. He has won them all. The only thing he can do now is simply add more of them to his list.
Liège? If
I don't know about
Wout can
Liège.
finish second, then Mathieu van der Poel can win it.
I mean, that's very true because we have always made the thing of whatever Wout can do, Mathieu van der Poel can do better. But I don't know, man. I really don't know about Liège. I feel that when you get a Pogacar there as well, I just favour Pogacar over Lola dudes and stuff like that. I just feel like maybe it's just a smidgen too long for Van der Poel in terms of climb length. But I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. But then the problem is after that, it's like, oh, it's a Lombardia. He ain't winning that. He ain't winning a Lombardia.
I want him to get in the Monument Club.
I mean, I'd love it too, but I just don't see it happening.
So what else is there? Stages in all 3 Grand Tours?
Yeah, go to the Vuelta. Britannia Classic. GP of Quebec.
He's only got 1 tour stage win, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess like winning more tour stages, steal Wout's thunder. He hasn't won Geen-Wevelgem, I don't think.
Yeah, it's true.
No, I don't think so, no.
Has he won E3?
No.
Okay, but we're just trying to call with, here you go, Van der Poel, here's your tick list for next year. Just go and do that, please, and then we'll come back next year and like reassess.
Tour of Denmark? Wout's won Tour of Denmark.
Obvious, that's the most important thing that he does need. Well, I don't know. What
so is he the best then? If he hasn't won Liège, if he hasn't won Lombard, if he hasn't won E3, if he hasn't won Gent-Wevelgem, like that's quite a sizable list of one-day races.
I think he literally is. Like Ewan says, Wout is good, but he lacks that. I don't know, that absolute cutting edge on the big stage. He is always just sort of a bridesmaid, very, very much like Sagan has been in the past. That's not saying that Wout van Aert is bad. I'm just saying that he's just massively consistent, but he's always just second fiddle to somebody else on the day, which is a bit of a shame. I just think Mathieu is just unassailable at the moment on short, punchy climbs. Like, freaking see you later. Like, you may as well not bother turning out.
That's the thing. He's got that kick that no one else can respond to. Like, and we see it so often. Like, when have we ever really seen Wout be able to drop the other two, like with an attack? It feels like Mathieu has just got that like gigawatt explosion where he like rips into the climb and just gets rid of everybody, and he manages to like sustain that all the way to the end. And it doesn't really get old even today. Like Great George Street was not where I thought he was going to go into it. I thought he was going to wait for like Montreux Street or Scott Street, like one of those like steeper climbs. But once he went for it, boom, just like no one's responding. And I think that's such a valuable asset going into like the future when like in like a Liège-Bastogne-Liège, for instance, if he does go to that, he knows that he can rely on that sort of like giga boom, explosion, big bang, whatever you want to call it, Oppenheimer move, where like he just like drops everybody else on one of these super steep climbs.
You're going to mention Bobby as well, just to complete it.
Yeah, later.
100%. I'm
yeah. Literally, Van der Poel is just such an aesthetically pleasing attacker. That's just the perfect way to describe it. Him and like Pogacar just have this look on them when they're attacking. It's unlike anybody else. It's just exciting to look at all the time. It's just something which nobody else really has caught the mythos of in the peloton.
Ewan and I talked about this on the recap, but Patrick, where would you rank this world title in terms of his other victories? Is this like the best? But like you could class it the style or the prestige. So there's like 2 different ways you can put it.
Oh, that's good. That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like his Flanders victory against Wout, I do think is real good. I really like that one. You could say kind of the drama of when he beat Pogacar and Madouas and Van Baal in Flanders. That was quite cool, but from a always are they going to get caught kind of thing. But I do think that this is probably Mathieu's most impressive victory, actually. just from the aspect of he did crash and the force of his attack and the conditions of it, the technicality of it. It wasn't just I am going to go full gas up Adequem on Paterberg and then just sprint somebody out at the end. It was sustained, hard 30-second efforts mixed with supreme technical ability, mixed in with surviving a crash, coming back from it, recouping, and still doing well. Right? None of his other victories quite stack up to the number of things which he did today, I don't think.
When you justified it almost felt like, yeah, I should be saying that. But something about like, okay, definitely in terms of prestige, I'll say this: World Championship beats all the other ones in terms of prestige. But that 2021 Strade Bianche win is like magic. I feel like that was like such cyclismo.
That's very true. And also his Mur de Bretagne one, where he took the yellow jersey in homage to Raymond Poulidor. That was a really cool one. And the fact that he took it with the bonus seconds and stuff, and that was such a good one as well. And I'll stick with my guns and say this was the best one. But I can fully appreciate the Stadi one. That was a cool one.
But anyway, moving on to Remco Evenepoel, we touched on him a bit, and Ewan and I discussed this as well. He won San Sebastian, well, kind of convincingly, beating Bilbao in the sprint. We were like, oh, he looks very strong. He's got the Vuelta a España coming up. He didn't do the Tour de France. But was this quite worrying for you guys to see Remco when the big boys kind of come? He wasn't really a threat as we thought he would be.
I don't know. I think upon reflection, this wasn't a course which suited Evenepoel as much as I thought.
I think he said that as well.
Yeah. I think that, and therefore I'm kind of apprehensive to draw conclusions, but going back to San Sebastian, the fact that he wasn't able to drop Peyo Bilbao, which no offense to Peyo Bilbao, I would have expected Evenepoel to have pretty comfortably got rid of him and just won solo. So I don't know, maybe there is a little bit of something where I'm a bit like, oh, maybe he isn't stacking up completely, but there is still like a little bit of time to go, I guess. But you would expect Evenepoel to be on a very good level right now. It's not like he's turning up to World Champs thinking, oh, I'm just going to kind of like half-arse it and just sort of, cruise on through and win anyway. I guess he's not as like brilliant as the other guys over 30-second climbs, but I guess the Vuelta isn't won over 30-second climbs, so that doesn't really matter too much. But there are certainly some question marks, I think, over Evenepoel and his form going into the Vuelta, the fact that he wasn't so dominant. And he's also got his new tarmac SLA. Let's not forget that. That was released as well today. So, you're going to get super watts from that as well, isn't he? I don't know. Are you guys thinking that he's not looking in good form for Vuelta?
It wasn't the best side today, but it was just one day. Maybe he had an off day, but he was so confident beforehand about like Belgium being such a strong team. But was this really a Remco course? I don't know. He tried to attack, but even like the attacks that he gave seemed a little bit blunt because they were marked by other people. Yeah, I mean it's not a great sign. I think this probably strengthens the odds of Jumbo-Visma being able to win the Vuelta a España with Vingegaard and Roglic. Also, this has just taken some time out of Evenepoel's calendar really to come here. He's probably going to spend like a week in Scotland, not really doing altitude camps or like extreme climbing. The highest road in Scotland, Beloch na Bar, is like 500, 600 meters in altitude. It's hardly an Alp, which is what like the guys, like Jumbo-Visma guys will be doing instead. So I feel like the preparations are not great for Evenepoel right now.
Good point, actually.
Yeah, that's fair. And also the team strength as well. Like, I know that they did win it last year, Soudal Quick-Step. Obviously, they were under a different name then. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about Jumbo-Visma. They know how to win a Grand Tour. They're hyper motivated to get every Grand Tour victory this year. I think Evenepoel's going to have to find something to really kind of beat them, especially since the TTKs, the individual TTKs, are not as high as in like the Giro. So he doesn't really have that to go and rely back on. He can't think, oh, I'm going to put 30 seconds into a Roglic/Vingegaard in each of these TTs gain a minute. There's one individual time trial. There's a team time trial, which Jumbo-Visma are notoriously good at as well. So he doesn't have that to rely on either. I just think that maybe odds are stacked against him. Ramos sort of, and it's not like he can just go on some solo raid on where he's like, I'm just going to go and rely on Group 2 tactics playing into kind of his hands, because there'll always be a Roglic or a Vingegaard there to pull, I think, depending on who they decide as leader in that moment. And it sounds like I'm putting a bit of a downer on Evenepoel. I still think that he's going to do very well. It's just that in relation to Jumbo-Visma, I don't know how he's going to win.
What about UAE?
Almeida did not look good today. Yeah.
I think he crashed.
But he crashed. One thing I do notice here in the start list is that of World Championships and the Vuelta is that there aren't many Vuelta favorites that came here. Almeida is one of them, Evenepoel's another. We have no Enric Mas can't really be here, but we have no Ayuso. We have no Sasha Vlasov, no Vingegaard, no Roglic, no Geraint Thomas. These are people you would think, they might as well go to World Championships. If this were in the normal September slot, they probably would.
Geraint, he's going to the TT.
But he wasn't the road race.
Yeah. Fair point.
In terms of missing out all that time of his schedule. And for UAE, to be honest, it didn't look great for Almeida today, but Ayuso, he's probably just going to try and bank off of Jumbo-Visma doing a hell of a lot of work during the Vuelta.
Mm-hmm. It wouldn't surprise me to see Ayuso actually finish ahead of Evenepoel in this Vuelta. I think that Ayuso, because he's been so young, he's got a larger kind of ceiling to improve into each year. Not saying that Evenepoel's watched at the age of 23. I'm just saying that Ayuso we haven't seen kind of as much of this year, and he kind of brings that element of surprise almost to the table.
He's a monster.
Yeah, he is. I would have put Ayuso as the leader over Almeida, despite whatever co-leadership Wolf are going to try to pull over our eyes. I'm saying that Ayuso's leader. I'd back him. I really would.
Where's Remco going to finish in the Vuelta? We might just finish this clip off with a prediction. I'm just pointing out when Patrick and I did the clip for Mathieu van der Poel, you didn't want. I gave you the chance to say, is Mathieu van der Poel going to be the champion? And you said no.
I said he was going to finish on a. I said he was going to finish third, didn't I?
Yeah.
Maybe the Poel, where's he going to finish? I don't know, man. I'll go with. I kind of feel like he's going to crack, I'm going to go with 6. 6 in GC. It's pretty brutal, but I feel like he could crack on Angliru.
Yeah, I've got similar vibes. I feel like a crack is incoming.
Same.
I'm
saying 5th.
Yeah, it's somewhere between 4th and 6th.
Fantastic.
I don't think he's going to win it.
Yeah. No, I could see Jumbo getting 2 on the podium.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I reckon they could.
They saw UAE and they were like, we want some of that.
Yeah, legit. Apart from they want the top step as well.
But anyways, the time trial is happening and Remco is going to be part of that. Who do you see as the favorites here? Obviously, there's quite a number of exciting names there. The newly, how many times he's been world champion in the individual pursuit for Lugana. Obviously, he's going to be here. I think Tobias Foss is coming to defend the title. Wout van Aert, Remco.
I think the road race is something to take into consideration as well. The riders who did road race today might be fatigued. I know it is kind of a few days away, but they talk about, I'm only going to be doing an hour ride tomorrow. I need to recover well for this effort that's going to be coming up in the TT. So Ganna, I know he has been doing track stuff, but he hasn't had to do a 6-hour road race. So I feel like Ganna has the edge, in my opinion. I would say that Evenepoel is certainly up there as well, though, and Wout's just an ever-present threat. Just where Wout van Aert pretty much always does a good TT as just a de facto. I'm always surprised if Wout van Aert would finish outside of top 5.
Yeah, I think Wout will finish on the podium. I think he could win. I think Yeah, I don't really know who's going to win, but I feel like Wout feels like a right choice. The only thing is that, like, at the Olympics in 2021, Ghana did the road and the track. He was really good on the track, but not very good on the road. I don't know whether that's going to happen again here, where just Ghana just doesn't deliver on the road TT whilst he's like smashing it on the track, which he evidently is doing. He's just won the individual pursuit title. So yeah, we could. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna have a huge surprise like a shock world champion like last year with Tobias Foss, but yeah, someone like Wow would make sense. Even like if Remy Cavagna got a podium place, he rode a really good TT in the final week of the Tour de France. That wouldn't shock me.
Mm. That's very
Mathieu
true.
Catania, how about that?
Yeah,
Oh,
true.
Denmark is sending Mikkel Bjerg and Kasper Asgreen.
I was playing DNF today though. He didn't look that great. I know it was kind of wasn't
Mikkel
called
Bjerg
to suit
DNF.
him, but
All of the Danish team DNF'd apart from Pilsen and Skjelmose.
yeah, I don't know. Asgreen finished the tour on some good legs though, so it wouldn't surprise me if he put out a decent performance. But honestly, if Asgreen finished third, I won't be shocked because I'd be like, you know what, that's kind of on trend. To be fair, I don't know. I'm with you, and I don't see a surprise winner. I think you're right about Ghana though, that he could maybe do good on track but do bad on road. I think that's very possible as well. But yeah, I don't know. It's always quite hard with TTs. Like the mix between like fifth and 10th is always just such a washing machine. Like you could kind of it's like a pack of cards, like shuffle them up and throw them down. And it's kind of like, oh, it's that person today. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, the UK.
Yeah, someone like a Ryan Mullen could finish like ninth,
Yeah.
and like that would just be like apt.
Oh, true. Josh Tarling, he in Wallonie finished just behind Ghana in that TT. That was a ride and a half. He could finish really well.
Almost like replicating Remco back in 2019, where he finished like second in his first ever seniors, and he could have been in the under 23.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. You know, I'll make a bold claim.
Oh,
Josh Tarling,
podium.
podium. Third place. Josh Tarling finishes on the podium of the TTs.
Yeah, and you like a bold prediction for TT. Remember Remy Cavagna winning the World Championships in 2021?
Correction, it was actually 2020.
Oh, sorry, different year. How did that end up?
The beauty's in the detail. Not well. I can't even remember where I finished, but it wasn't in the top 5. It's because actually it's similar logic to my previous Remy Cavagna comment. I said he did a good final week TT in the Tour de France, and I remember I said that last time, and he just missed it at the Worlds. Even like Kung looked good in the road race, but Kung doesn't win World Championships. This is just like this is like a known fact now that Stefan Kung doesn't win the Worlds. I don't know. I feel like Mattia Catania getting a podium.
I mean, we haven't mentioned the course as well. So it's in Stirling.
It's like it's a couple of hills, and the final drag to the line is like cobbles.
Yeah,
it's uphill.
Does it go to like Stirling Castle? Is that where it goes?
Yeah, it does.
It's a bit of a berg. But at that point, like, it's not like, oh, the climbers will have an absolute advantage. It's just kind of like pure power. Just at that point, like, it doesn't really, it's not like Evenepoel, being lighter is going to help massively. Like, it won't really.
I wish Jonas Vingegaard was here.
This is quite similar to the French National Championship route in Cassel this year. If I am wanting to back Remy Cavagna, and he obliterated that course
against French,
but Bruno Amirai, who by the way is rumored to be moving to Age des Citroën next year.
We will get on to transfers.
Drama.
There's a really strange transfer I really want to get into in a bit.
Oh, there's also a hotel we need to talk about.
Oh yes.
Don't stop teasing everybody. We're gonna get to these. What was the thing? Oh, hilly course. Tough race. it's gonna play into Wout van Aert and Evenepoel's hands probably. But last year's World's Route was also hilly, and we had like a pretty bananas top 10.
That's true.
Who do you think is going to be the surprise package? No, who's going to win? Well, we might as well. Who's going to win the rainbow jersey?
I'll go Ghana.
Fun pick, not so fun pick. Fun pick. I don't know. Mathieu Catania. No, I can't say he's gonna win, but I think he's gonna do well. I think Remco's gonna win. He just had like a biblical TT at the Giro. And like when he is good, his TT is still like he had COVID and still won a TT in the Giro.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
It's pretty correct.
I'm gonna say Wout van Aert because I like the idea of him and Mathieu having a rainbow jersey each.
True. If we don't get either of these right, I don't understand cycling anymore.
Someone's got to be right. But nevertheless, if you have 200 whatever pounds spare, Ewan, what can you do for a night in Slovakia?
Well, this is the wonderful story of the SP Resort. The SP Resort is Peter Sagan's new project. So he's retired from the professional peloton, but now he has launched his own hotel, as is described on the website, as the hotel that has a story. I'll be honest, it's pretty bananas. Everything is themed around Peter Sagan. The website says that we hope staying at our hotel will provide you with an amazing experience and allow you to learn about the incredible life of three-time world champion Peter Sagan. Why so serious? Open the door and take a look. And open the door you can and take a look you dare to. There are a number of incredibly garish rooms. If you go to UNS Wilson on Twitter, you can find a wonderful Twitter thread analyzing all the rooms. The Tour de France room looks like sort of toxic waste on the floor. It's so green, it's like nauseating. Then you go into like the Quebec room, and it's just like there's a rug with the Grand Prix Cycliste Quebec logo, and then a wall filled of like stock images, stock photos of like the city of Quebec. And then you go to like the Paris-Roubaix room, and it's got like this cobblestone effect carpets. You've got a map of Roubaix on the wall. Then you go upstairs, and there's a rooftop terrace, which doesn't actually have a Paris-Roubaix theme. There's a Tour of California room where there's like a surfboard on the wall. There's a dividing wall in the room which has like some stock image of like a beach in California. In the Tour de Suisse room, there's like cowbells. It's like it looks like a log cabin. There's even like the blanket in there. It's like a military blanket that's given to like soldiers of the Swiss Army. It's wonderfully kitsch. It's over the top. It's so Peter Sagan. It can cost you anywhere between like 160 euros, like 300 euro to stay here per night. It does include free breakfast, and there's also a fitness room where like there's like a gym, there's a swimming pool with the Peter Sagan logo in. Honestly, check out the Twitter thread on this. Magnum opus.
Wow. That is somewhere. It just sounds like a massive red flag, is what it sounds like. It just sounds terrifying, because I dread to think, is Peter Sagan there all the time? I mean, obviously this is just like his retirement fund, isn't it? Well, however much you're spending, X percent is just literally going to be sent straight to Peter Sagan. Like, this is the whole purpose of it, is so that he can keep his, I don't know, lofty hobbies afloat during his retirement, which starts for when? I can't remember if he's partially retiring or retired now. I don't even know, but oh gosh. I mean, I personally probably won't be staying. I don't know which room I'd want, to be honest with you. I kind of like the sound of the Tour de Suisse room. Is that the least
The Tour de Suisse room is
nauseating?
hands down my favorite.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
I don't know. Like, it's kind of like over the top. I feel like it really commits to the theme. Like some of the rooms, like there's a gravel room and there's like no commitment to the theme. But like the Tour de Suisse room, which is 200 euro per night, one of the cheaper ones, is just like, it's just so over the top. Like it looks like a log cabin sauna kind of thing that you would probably find in the Alps somewhere. Full commitment to the bit. Love it from Peter. I hope he was on board with it. Then you go to like the world champion room, which is like an expensive one. But the world champion room has just like no commitment to like the world champion theme, no rainbow bands. It's just like a picture of Peter Sagan on the wall. And like some of the people in response to the Twitter thread were saying like, imagine waking up in the morning and seeing Peter Sagan. Imagine trying to like have a really romantic experience and like you look up and you just see Peter Sagan like smiling with like podium girls above the headboards. That's just like terrifying.
Well, that aside, transfers have been happening as well. Magnus Cort Nielsen going to Uno X. Was Leknessem confirmed as well? Trentin confirmed.
Yeah, I mean,
to
we should point
Turo?
out. Yeah, so we should point out that August 1st has happened since the last episode. August 1st is when you can then announce all the new transfers. So that meant everybody was rushing out to announce them. Uno X with their first big flood of transfers. So Leknessem, Magnus Cort, the two big ones there. Also looking towards Tudor, they cut out the bullshit. They announced like 7 transfers in one single tweet. It was like Dainese, Trentin, Michael Storer. We spoke about him in transfer talks over on the main Cycling Day channel about him linked to Soudal. That didn't happen. Also, Mara Schmid was announced. Also, the strange, I mean, not strange because we anticipated this, but it's mid-season. Arnaud Demar moving to Arkea, which we covered in Transfer Talks episode 2 over on the Cycling Day channel. There's also now like a bunch of new rumors. The strangest one that apparently is like legitimate is Mikel Landa going to Soudal Quickstep. It floored me. I was not expecting this. I was bamboozled, but apparently it's happening.
Okay. For the Remco project? But we don't even know if Remco's staying. We don't even know if he's going to Ineos. That's still a thing.
There's more gossip on that. Oh, so much like Remco Evenepoel gossip is the gift that keeps on giving. So Remco Evenepoel's dad decided to do an interview with a Belgian media outlet. Can't remember the name of it. One of the French ones. But he was talking about like the links to other teams, and he said that there are 3 good links with teams, and Evenepoel could move out by next year. He's got like a sort of like 5-step plan towards winning the Tour de France that apparently CR Quickstep aren't even like past like the second step at the moment. That's like paraphrasing. It's something along those lines. It's like Joseph Stalin kind of vibe. His dad was saying all this stuff, like spurting out, like, oh yeah, like Remco could totally move teams. Even a condom company contacted me. He actually said that. That is a Patrick Evenepoel quote there. His father.
Right, hang on. He's called Patrick Evenepoel, so it's Patrick Lefevre and Patrick.
Let me Patrick Evenepoel
right. No, hang on, I don't. Why is
yes,
my name?
Yes, his name is Patrick Evenepoel.
Oh my word!
Everyone's called Patrick.
I'm in a holy trinity with Patrick Evenepoel, Patrick Lefevre, and Patrick Blake. What's happening? Patrick Conrad.
But like Evenepoel, I don't really know like what the beef is, but Remco Evenepoel said this morning, quote, both my dad and Patrick, which Patrick we don't know, would be better silent. It seems like there's like beef and rifts, and like people keep talking and talking and talking about like what Remco Evenepoel's future could be. It's kind of fascinating, but like the 3-team link does sort of align with the previous rumors that we had about Evenepoel not being happy at Soudal. But maybe it's Patrick Evenepoel being unhappy.
Yeah, then UAE making hella signings of everyone who's under 22 years old. Like that Portuguese wonder kid, what's his name, like Mercado, something like that. He's really good. And they've also got that Jan Christiansen.
Oh yeah. The one we spoke about, the one from the Pogga team.
Yeah. And then there's Igor Arieta as well. Like, what are UAE planning here?
Is it just Ineos, like what Ineos were doing when they were Sky, who bring up all the talent and then spit them out 3 years later?
Yeah, it kind of seems like that is the case.
Ian Boswell.
UAE have been doing some good job at like talent development.
Who? Tadej Pogacar and Juan Ayuso. They would have been amazing in any team.
Is Rob Premier Tech?
Maybe not.
Speaking of which, more riders are leaving DSM. including Henry van den Abelen, who's moving over to Lotto Destiny next year. Leeknesund has left, Vidaberry has left, and there might be more riders leaving DSM as well. So it's not looking good for DSM Firmenich. Oh, Dainese has left as well. Florian Stork is leaving. They've all been announced. So yeah, troublesome times at DSM Firmenich. They have to go like harvesting like 18-year-olds again to fill up their world tour like quotas.
Yeah, literally, they had one of like the best development teams going to DSM, and then it's just kind of like just fizzled away. Maybe they'll announce Jakobsen, like has been sort of rumored for what feels like a month, and possibly we'll forget all about it. Because ever since Koi re-signed, it was like, oh, well, that's not happening. But yeah, you do make a good point. DSM are sort of floundering right now. I'm trying to think of another. There was another transfer I was thinking of. What's his name? Tamino, that sprinter from Alpecin. He's going to Lotto Destiny to help Caleb Ewan win again, to help Arnaud Delis win more.
This is where if Caleb Ewan stays with the team following the drama of the Tour de France, but apparently saw Daniel Benson of GCN Racing tweeted that they like sat around a table and they all held hands and like said sorry, and they're happy to go on for one more year. So maybe Caleb Ewan is going to stick with that team for at least 1 year longer.
But anyways, coming to our final part, and it is our Rider of the Week. Obviously, well, we can say you can do over any discipline because there's so many disciplines going on. But Mathieu van der Poel surely should be someone's pick. So yeah, well, Patrick, from Glasgow, who are you picking? Well, being in Glasgow, who are you picking?
I will pick probably the underdog performance of the day, which is Matthew Dinham, who finished in 7th place for the Australian team. He was in the early break. I remember cheering him on there and not really thinking that anything would really come of it. But the fact that he finished in 7th place as essentially a neo-pro, because he was in the under-23 ranks last year, is quite simply mind-blowing. So I will give it to him for pretty much the underdog performance of the elite men's road race.
My rider of the week is a rider who would have loved to have been in Scotland because he used to be based there. Michael Storer of Groupama Française des Jeux. Not only did he have a shock new transfer announced this week to Tudor Pro Cycling, but he also won the Tour de L'Ain. By doing so, he got exactly the same results as he did in 2021 when he won the race, like exactly the same results and exactly the same stages. I think he was like 97th on stage 1, 2nd on stage 2, and he won the 3rd stage. The exact same thing happened. And on the 2nd stage, he crashed on like the bike throw to the line with Cepeda of Thibaut Pinot shouting fame. They went to the line, Michael Storer came down, and then the next day he won the stage, he won overall. It's got to be Michael Storer.
Oh, I was hoping someone was going to pick Mathieu van der Poel so I could just go full Danish, but feels wrong to not having that. But we try and not do them the favorite as the rider of the week. So I'm going to go for the 16-year-old Dane, Albert Philipsen, not related to Jasper Philipsen.
Oh, that's a shame. I was going to say.
Speaking of family, Alexander Kristoff has a little brother who finished 3rd in the junior road race. He's 17 years of age.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
Just saying.
What?
Why didn't this come
Felix
up in any of the
Ornquist.
interviews?
I found this out like the other day. I clicked on his Pro Cycling Stats profile and it said Alexander Kristoff was his brother. And then I did some Instagram stalking and found out that it's true because I didn't believe it.
Kristoff.
The Kristoff name is staying in cycling.
Come
to the ranks.
This has really been like bombshell of bombshells. But anyways, that's it for
the Peter Sagan Hotel. Alexander Kristoff, 17-year-old brother. It really is just like me. And Mika landed the Soudal quick step. Holy and the reveal of Remco Evenepoel's father's name.
Patrick.
This episode has been filled with so many gems.
Yeah, but that's basically it for our 20th
Patrick Trinity.
28th episode of the Echelon Cycling Podcast. Make sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Podcast, and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel here on the YouTube channel as well. And comment down below, get involved in the chat, as it's always fun to keep the banter going in the comment section. And don't give us too much, don't give Ewan too much hate about the anti Wout van Aert hate this time. But that's basically it. Thank you very much for watching. And are we going to have you next week, Patrick, in Glasgow, or?
No, next week I'll be in the Lake District, but I will hopefully have Wi-Fi there. So
okay. The journey continues, and maybe Ewan can escape his childhood bedroom. But with that, thank you very much for watching, listening, and we will see you next week.